let's go to encoder and memory. And you can see my drop downs here, serial, SICK, Hyperface. So the other manufacturers, those logos are grayed out. The only one I can click on is SICK. And then once I've clicked on it, I'm going to hit Start Collection. I'm going to click ID Encoder. Once I click ID Encoder, it does a surface pass to the encoder just to make sure that it can read it. I have everything connected properly, and it'll return the BIOS information or the hardwired information in the encoder memory about the encoder itself. So the type, how much space is available on the encoder, the total size being used, number of data fields programmed into it, and then again, firmware, date, encoder serial number, etc. In the memory module, get error, if the encoder is throwing any errors, this button will show red, as I will show you later on. But you can go and double check to see if the encoder is throwing any errors. And then over here is the motor specific information that's programmed into the encoder. So to view this information, I'm going to click Read Data. And when I click Read Data, the software does a pass of all the lines that are programmed into the encoder at once. So you only have to click Read Data once, and then if you want to view the information that's loaded onto each memory field, you just click through and it'll show up in the memory window here. And you can change how that memory is displayed with these toggles here. So right now we're looking at it in ASCII. There's hex, there's decimal, whatever you're comfortable with. So even though this encoder is good, it is always best practice to save the memory file of every encoder that comes in, because eventually a motor of the same model is going to come in where the encoder is completely destroyed, and you're going to have to program a new encoder with that motor model. So you have the file name down here, MPL B320P. Finish that off. Make sure it's complete. And in a future update, it'll do that for you automatically as long as it can read it. And then if you're happy with the file name, just click Save. So that memory file is now saved. If for some reason, let's say this was a bad encoder and I needed to replace it with a new one, or I'm taking a used good encoder and I need to delete the fields and make it fresh. To delete these fields, you just click Delete, and it'll delete all 4 lines at once, or however many lines are written into the encoder. And then to rewrite a memory file to the encoder, you're going to click Create. Over here in Input Method, click Create and Write. Open up your desired memory file. I always sort my library by date modified, so the most recent thing I was working on is right on top. OK, and then confirm. All right, once it says write complete, you can see those lines have been rewritten to the encoder. You confirm by reading the memory, and you are good to go.